Hey guys, before we jump into today's video, just a quick announcement. No, it's not the like, comment, subscribe speech. I think you've heard that quite a lot already. I just wanted to remind you, for those of you who don't know, I used to have another channel, which was actually my first channel. It's now called Actively Mel, used to be known as Fit Student Mel, which kind of revolved around my journey in like fitness and health. And I haven't posted this year on there yet. I've been more active here because just getting back into my exercise and things has been a little tough this year, but I'm starting to schedule that back into my day, just to kind of get myself back on that track to just take care of my health a little bit better. And what I wanted to tell you is that I may start posting on there again maybe once a week, but it won't just be exercise related content. I was also thinking maybe doing like a vlog maybe once a week or once a month on there. So if you guys want to go check that out, I will put the link in the description and you can go give that a look-see if you want. You could also go check out some of the workouts I have posted on there quite a while ago. They're still good workouts, so if you want to go check that out, you are more than welcome. But I am done with that speech. Let's get into the actual reason why you're here, today's video. Okay guys, so for today's video, if you guys can remember a week or two ago on my Monday videos that I do, which is basically my podcast, Me and Gen Z, I posted some study tips, and a part of that was time management and scheduling. Now I didn't go too deep into time management and scheduling because it was just basic tips, but today's video I really want to kind of go more into scheduling and time management and kind of how I do it. I will also discuss some other techniques that other people do very shortly, and then I will discuss how I started planning my days so that I actually get done what needs to be done. So some people like to schedule every single second of their day because they find that works for them, having that sort of structure, knowing what is going to happen every single second of every day, and that works for them. That doesn't exactly work for me, but both of the things I'm going to tell you is kind of, I combined them to kind of find something that works for me. The other thing some people like to do is block scheduling, where they say, okay, I'm going to use 2 or 3 hours for this activity, 2 or 3 hours for this activity. So they don't necessarily prescribe a specific time for an activity. They just say, I really want to spend 3 hours on this, and I want to make 2 hours for this, and then they find time in their day to do it without having a strict schedule to follow. So what I do is I kind of combine the two. Okay, so first things first. You make time for the essentials. Now, this is not the priorities. These are the essential things. Eating, sleeping, and hygiene, okay? Those are the 3 things that you actually have to do in a day that you're not going to get around. So you need to decide how many hours in a day do you need to sleep, how long is it going to take you to perhaps cook and eat, and then making time for showering, brushing your teeth, all of that. And once you've sorted that out, then comes step 2. So step 2 is, what are your priorities? So what I like to do is I would like to make a list of about 4 things that I really want to get done in that day. So that is not the essentials, this is the priorities. So I like to make a list. For example, I really want to spend some time reading. I really wanted to spend some time with my family, just relaxing, because family is very important to me. I also want to make time to make my videos and edit my videos, and then make times for my streaming. And another thing that's now starting to get back into my life is taking care of my health, getting in some exercise. So those are my 4 things that I absolutely have to do in a day, my priorities. So once I have that list of priorities, I would like to just dedicate a time that I would like to spend on them. So for example, I'm going to say I want to spend at least an hour reading, or 2 hours with my family, or 2 hours exercising. That's just kind of an example. Also, once you decide the amount of time you would like to spend on this, you don't have to do that continuously. You can perhaps say, I want to spend an hour reading today, but I'm going to break it up into 2 half hours throughout the day. Okay, so then that is what you do. You decide what are your top priorities for that day and assign a amount of time that you think you need to or have to spend on those. Okay, then the third thing is you actually start planning. So now comes in things like chores that you actually have to do throughout the day as well, but you won't actually necessarily say that chores are priorities, but they are more kind of a necessity. They're not essential like sleeping and eating. They're not really priorities, but there are still things that need to be done. So now you start kind of planning your day. So this is where I kind of combine the every single second planning and the block planning, because now you know the amount of time you would like to spend on each activity. Okay, you also know the amount of time it approximately takes to get your chores done, so you can now take times during the day. So what time do I wake up? How long does it take for me to kind of just get going in the morning? And what time would I like to get in my reading? Is there a specific time? Do I prefer mornings, evenings? When would I like to read? Would I like to read 1 hour continuously or break it up into different sessions? When can I have time for that? Would I prefer reading before dinner or after dinner? Things like that. How long does it take me to eat approximately? So these don't have to be like definite amounts of times. You can give yourself a little leniency, like, okay, I'm going to take 30 minutes per meal to eat, and then I can establish like 30 minutes to cook or whatever. However long it takes for you, you can approximate the times. Okay, so now that you know approximately how long it will take you and when you would like to kind of do these activities, you can kind of start putting them into an order during the day. So mornings, I would like to get these activities into my mornings. These activities I need to do during the day. And then in the evenings, I can perhaps start relaxing, spending some downtime with my family. Okay, so then you can kind of start deciding, do I really want a minute by minute schedule? Or I'm going to say I'm waking up at 6 and my morning routine is perhaps workout, exercise, breakfast, and that takes me 3 hours. So I wake up at 6. So between 6 and 9, I need to get all of that done. Okay, then what I'll do is, what are the other activities that I need to do? Okay, so perhaps after breakfast, I would like to read. So okay, I'll put my reading in after breakfast. I want to do the full hour. I'm going to do 9 to 10 reading. Okay, then I would like to perhaps do a video, because I just did some reading and maybe inspired. So okay, reading is done. So now I'm going to spend an hour on a video. It's 11 o'clock. Okay, I need to start preparing for lunch. I really like to have my lunch at around 12 or 12:30 in the afternoon. It's just how my scheduling works. So I'm gonna spend an hour starting my chores and doing lunch, because while the food is on the stove, I can start doing other chores. So doing that, I'm gonna give myself an hour to get the food done and start some of my chores. Maybe not finish them, but start them. Then I'm just gonna give myself some time to eat, relax a bit, and then go on. So you kind of take the block scheduling, where you allocate a certain amount of time for a certain activity, and the scheduling every single second of your day, and you kind of combine them into sort of one sort of hybrid of a schedule. So you make time for your essentials. So like you spend 7 hours sleeping, 1 hour eating in a day, or 1.5 hours eating in a day, and you're going to take about an hour for like the showering and the hygiene purposes. Okay, so then that is 7, 8, 9 hours out of your day. That's done. Okay, now you need to decide, okay, I have this amount of time left. What do I need to fit into this amount of time, and how much time do I want to spend on each of my top 4 priorities? Okay, that's done. How much time do I have left after I spend time on everything that's really important? So with this time, I really need to make sure that I do my chores. Perhaps I have work to do that I don't really want to do, but I have to. So now I can take the time that is left after I've done the essentials, I've done what is really important to me, and now I need to do kind of the grunt work that I don't want to, but I have to, doing chores, those sorts of things. And this is the amount of time I have left for it. So I usually sleep about 7.5 hours. That's about as much as I can get in. Then I would like to spend about an hour to an hour and a half on exercise. Okay, so that is already 7.5 plus 1.5. That's 8, 9 hours. Okay, then at least I give myself an hour for breakfast, just because, you know, I want to cook my breakfast in peace, have my breakfast in peace, start my morning out peacefully. That's 10 hours. Okay, those are the things, morning routine. So then I have 14 hours left in the day. I would like to spend an hour reading. I would like to spend about 2 hours downtime with my family, 2 hours on making videos and 2 hours on a stream. So that is 2, 4, 6, 7 hours. Okay, that leaves me with 3 hours to get all my chores done. That is for me laundry, cooking the food, cleaning the kitchen. That is what I do here in the house, also making my bed and cleaning my room. So then when I figured that out, sometimes I'm left with about an hour that I'm finishing early, and then you have an hour to spend on whatever you want. So the reason why I think it's important to schedule or just make a list, perhaps not on weekends if you don't work on weekends and you just want to relax on weekends, but during the week, it's so that you can get done what's really important to you, and you can get to working on what your priorities is and start building up things that are important to you, and no longer use the excuse, oh, I didn't have time. Like they all say, all these inspirational quotes, you have 24 hours in a day. Okay, you spend 7 or 8 of them sleeping, you need to eat, and you need to clean yourself. Okay, then you have all of the hours left in the day. Obviously, if you're working, then that changes a bit, but you can still work out somewhat of a schedule. So if you work an 8-hour day, you sleep for 8 hours, that's 16 hours. It leaves you with another 8 hours. Decide what you want to do with that. Decide what is important. How much time would you like to spend on things that are important to you? And then you will see the difference in how you actually have time for your priorities to build up. Perhaps you're trying to build a business, so you actually have time to work on that business proposal. If you just make time for it, if you just schedule the time for it, if you just get your priorities and start scheduling your time. Now, I know life is hectic sometimes. Sometimes your schedule doesn't really work out, and that's fine, but try to at least stick to somewhat of a schedule. So let's say you wanted to spend 2 hours working on a business proposal after work, but something happened and there is an hour out of your day that you just lost. Don't get discouraged, because you still have an hour to do that. Okay, so your schedule isn't set in stone. It's just a guideline to show you that you can actually get the things done that are important to you, and that you actually you can make the time for the things that are important to you, because people make time for things that are important to them. So make the time for the things that are important to you. Make yourself a guideline. See what works for you. Maybe you are someone who needs a very strict schedule. Every single hour of the day is planned. Maybe you are someone who can do block scheduling and just say this. Or maybe you can combine the two and find something that works for you. And then if something happens where your schedule gets a little thrown around, then at least make sure that you can get back into the schedule once that incident is taken care of. So what I usually like to do is I don't schedule 24 hours of a day. I schedule 22 hours of a day, which means I have 2 hours for perhaps emergencies or unforeseen circumstances or things like that happening. So I have that 2 hours to play with, to make sure that if something does go wrong, I at least have some time to play with and my schedule won't be completely ruined. Okay, so like I said, schedule isn't necessarily something you have to absolutely stick by. It's a guideline, and it's a way for you to plan out your time, to make sure you spend time on the things that are important. And it's really important to implement this in your life if you want to start living a productive life and actually make time for things that are important, and that you don't end up saying, well, I never had time. Because if you schedule your time correctly, you can always make time, whether it's 10 minutes or an hour. You can find the time for the things that are really important to you, if it's actually that important to you. So that's why I wanted to share this with you today. Just the way I schedule my day isn't necessarily the way you'll have to schedule your day, but like I said, you can work different schedules and see which one works better for you, which way works better for you. But make sure you make that list of priorities and say, listen, I want to spend this amount of time on each of these things, and make sure you work those into your schedule, so that you don't have the excuse of saying, I didn't have time. Because you can make time. And that is why I think it's important to manage your time and actually have a schedule to guide you throughout your day and your week. And that is it for today, guys. I hope you found some of these tips really helpful, and I hope it will help you to lead a more productive life. It has certainly helped me since I started implementing this in my life. Actually, just a week or two ago, I started with this again because when I finished uni, time schedule went out the door. But once I started implementing this a week or two ago, and it's already made such a big difference. I really hope it does the same for you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.